Duncan McNab here, 2nd of August 2024, and today talking drugs, and particularly the major drug arrest in the United States last week, where the authorities got hold of, finally, after many, many years, they got hold of a chap called Ishmael Zambada Garcia, better known as El Mayo. Now, El Mayo was one of the two founders of the Sinaloa Cartel. His co-founder was Shorty Guzman, or El Chapo as he's occasionally called, who was arrested some years ago, extradited to the United States, convicted of appalling crimes, and is currently residing in Supermax in Colorado. He will never see the light of day ever again, which doesn't sadden me unduly. El Mayo hopefully will be joining him fairly shortly. The Sinaloa Cartel has, they're major players in global drug trafficking. They have a massive cocaine business, a massive amphetamine business. They supply precursor chemicals to the world. They also supply synthetic opioids, like evil things like fentanyl, which is just devastating drug users across North America. These guys are just the most reprehensible bastards you can possibly think of. Now, the US authorities have been after El Mayo for many years. I think he was indicted in absentia in the US, but they finally got their hold of him, and at the time of his arrest, he was with Shorty Guzman's son from a second marriage, Joaquin. Now, the pair, and there are a couple of stories running around at the moment, they were taken by plane from Mexico to El Paso in Texas. Now, the landing strip in El Paso is literally a couple of miles from the border. One story has it that they were going to look at some real estate in Mexico, hopped on board a private jet, the preferred travel method of any good cartel leader. And rather than take them on a trip to look at real estate around Mexico, they took them across the border, landed in El Paso, where they were arrested by the waiting US authorities. That's one story. One other story is that El Mayo was lured to the airstrip, where he was subject to what sounds like a rendition. Bag over the head, manacle, blah, 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 shoved on the plane, off he goes. That's one colourful story as well running around. Another intriguing story that's popped up, and there's going to be quite a few of these for a while, is that he was missing his relatives, and he's now in his late 70s and not in great health. He was missing his relatives, who seemed to be largely imprisoned in the US, and had pretty much given himself up so he could go and join them, which is a bizarre theory, given that in prison you don't exactly to spend a lot of time with family members, particularly if you're a gang like that. They tend to be separated geographically by quite some distance. One other cute story that's also emerged is that Guzman Jr. dropped his mate in it, so Guzman Jr. could get some leniency for a family member. That may have a touch of credit to it. It's a fluid story at the moment. No one knows what the facts truly are. They'll be emerging in court eventually, as the high-priced lawyers for the cartel do their best to get their client out of too much strife. I'll keep you posted with this. It's quite an intriguing yarn. As a curiosity, when researching a couple of stories on this some years ago, I went to Sinaloa, to the capital of Culiacan. Pretty town in Mexico. You fly in, this gives you an idea of the wealth. As you land in this fairly ordinary little town, the runway is littered with twin-engined executive jets. Lots of money on that landing strip. You drive into town, the police are heavily armed machine guns, shotguns, driving around in open back trucks, waiting for something to go wrong or to get in front of an accident. Staying at the hotel, I went to leave to go to a restaurant one night, and I was asked by the doorman where I was going, who advised that I don't go too far, so I went next door. The car park of the restaurant was full of massive trucks with heavily armed blokes standing in the back of them waiting. Inside the restaurant, the cartel heavies, this is obviously their favourite restaurant, which I'd found purely by accident, the cartel heavies were walking in with their girlfriends for the night. And I came to the conclusion that I was the only person in the restaurant, and that included waiters as well, that wasn't carrying a gun. Culiacan is a seriously scary place. And with that note, I'll leave you to it and come back shortly with updates on this intriguing and developing story. Thank you.